Hey guys, Bryan Rogala here. I am a Wayfarer Vanbassador and outdoor gear tester with my buddy Michael, who is the product design engineer at Wayfarer. And today we are gonna install the slide out bed extension in my van. And then at the end of the video, I'm gonna give you my honest take and review after using this thing for a few weeks and getting to travel with it. I'm pretty excited because it's 6'3". I'm a little bit tall for the east-west orientation of the standard bed. So the slide out extension is gonna make a huge difference for me.
Yeah, so we've heard a lot of feedback from taller Wayfarers like yourself and others that our east-west sleeping setup is just a little tight. I'm like right at 5'10", kind of right on that limit where I can comfortably sleep east-west. Even me sometimes, I'm kind of cheating it just a little bit.
So when Sarah and I got our van, we opted for this layout instead of the sort of north-south long bed because we wanted more living space in the front. And frankly, I thought I could kind of design my own sort of DIY slide out and make the bed longer so we could sleep north-south. What we realized is it didn't work that well.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
We've seen a number of people do that, design their kind of own kind of extended beds. We've seen fold down ones. We've seen some slide out ones. We really wanted to provide like a factory option. Obviously the demand was there. People want to do that. And we can provide that solution to people, I think, in a cleaner, kind of easier to install solution.
So this thing arrived the other day and you came down to help me install it because this is one of the first ones that you put in a customer van. So it's gonna be a little test for me and how well I can install this thing today. All right, so we've got all of our parts, all the tools laid out and in order. And the first step, we're actually gonna remove the old bed platform and the mattress in here. So I think it's important to note that this is an accessory, but it does replace the entire bed platform.
Yes, to get the functionality that we wanted out of it, we had to go and replace all these like wooden platform parts. Those all need to be replaced. So the kit comes with an entirely new wooden bed platform. So all that stuff needs to come out. You're gonna be using a lot of this like metal unistrut stuff. All these bed brackets that are already in there are gonna be reused. But yeah, the wood itself has gotta go.
Okay, right. I'm gonna get started and take the bed out.
Sounds good.
All right, so this is really great. Walk me through this. This is basically a template you've created so that I don't have to try to measure and get it wrong in terms of when I'm drilling a hole.
Yeah, so there's a couple points. We're gonna have to drill a couple new holes in the van. I really want to like simplify that process. I know it can be intimidating to try to measure and then drill something. So instead of having customers do that, we have done that for you. We basically created these templates that are printed on adhesive back material. So you're able to take them, peel the adhesive back off, stick it directly onto the Formica panels, or we're gonna do another one up on the metal component later.
Okay.
And then obviously we're using the current bolt point as a reference point, and then we have another point labeled on there for exactly what you're supposed to drill, just to kind of help minimize that confusion on the customer end.
I love minimizing confusion. That's very helpful for me. It certainly flexes less than mine did
Yeah,
when I got on it.
that's good.
Oh,
We could both lay on there.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's awesome. All right, Michael. Well, that was faster than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did just over 3 hours.
Cool.
That's with some filming. And I was not particularly helpful. I could have been more helpful as a second pair of hands, but I didn't want to interfere too much.
First time going through it, I thought it was smoother than I anticipated, I would say, overall. The scariest part is certainly working with that hole saw, but in reality, you're just cutting through the wall panel, so you're not drilling into the van necessarily until that one step, and that's just routing out an existing hole. I think trying to install it by yourself is doable. I just think it would take longer.
For sure.
And there's certain times when like you were able to help me by holding the bolt, as I'm tightening the top kind of thing, and
yes, it does.
And handing tools in and out of the van, basically.
Yeah, there's a lot of in and out, grabbing pieces, grabbing hardware, where it is kind of nice to have someone in the van, someone out of the van.
Yeah. So. I would say overall, though, very simple, very DIY-able. One thing I would mention is if you're like me and you tend to perhaps read only half the steps, it is important to read the whole step and realize that, like in some instances, you shouldn't tighten the bolts all the way. And you wouldn't necessarily find that out until maybe 3 steps later.
Yeah, that's not just a you problem. The couple of people I've had run through this so far, it's a very common issue where people like to read half the instructions or like half of a step and then start working because they get it, they get what's happening.
This is the first time I've seen this product. This is the first time I've seen any of this stuff and seen the instructions, and we did this in 3 hours with shooting a video.
Yeah,
so.
You were saying you hadn't even like taken the bed platform off before.
Right.
So like you'd never even messed with anything on your previous bed build.
Correct.
And we were still able to get everything apart and get it back together within 3 hours. I'd say probably 3 to 4 hours for most people.
Yeah. Well, I am really stoked on this thing and excited to, try it out on the next trip here.
Yeah.
So
glad to hear you're stoked on it.
Thanks for coming down and helping with this.
Yeah, sure thing. Good working with you.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, so now that I've had the chance to live with this slide-out bed extension for a few weeks, I'm gonna give you my thoughts. First and foremost, this thing creates a massive bed up here. For somebody like me who's a little bit taller, it is a phenomenal upgrade. I used to kind of have trouble fitting east-west. It wasn't too bad, but I kind of had to sleep diagonally if I really wanted to stretch out. And this thing makes a world of difference. In fact, the first night Sarah and I used this, we were sort of like, whoa, this might be bigger than our bed at home.
Ooh, king-size bed.
Go to your side.
I got so much space. Look at that.
Sleeping north-south like this and having all of this space is just one more simple creature comfort that makes the experience of camping a little more like your bedroom at home. In terms of living with this day to day, there's really no change in how the whole setup and flow of the van works, right? Because this thing slides away, we pop the mattress extension right up on top of the bed, and you don't even really know it's there until you're ready to make the bed at night. And then it's a much better experience, in my opinion, than the east-west orientation. Now, obviously, it's an addition, and you have to decide whether or not you want to invest in it. For me, it was a no-brainer, right? I'm 6'3", and it is really difficult to sleep and stretch out in the east-west orientation, so it made total sense. I think if you're also somebody who doesn't want to have to get up over your partner in the middle of the night to use the restroom, or if you just want a little more space, maybe you have some dogs you bring up in the bed with you, I think it's a no-brainer. So for me, as a taller person, this particular upgrade, the slide-out bed extension, is by far the add-on that makes the biggest difference in terms of livability and comfort in the van.